laptop. It's not working. So I'm not sure this is going to work. So I will project. But I'm a little concerned about our mics right now. Just so you know.
Demonstrators for people that are
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Nikki, and our service leader today is our own Reverend Lori. Welcome, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Saco and Biddeford. That's such a mouthful. We also want to welcome those of us joining on YouTube, and we encourage you to have a candle or a chalice when we light ours here in a few moments. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we're glad that you're here with us today. We invite you to carry the theme of welcome into your week as you go out into the world. Welcome is the theme for September. We strive to be a green sanctuary, and that gives roots and wings to a vision of a world where all people build toward a sustainable future and make reverence, gratitude, and care for the living earth central to our lives. We acknowledge that our building sits on the unceded land of the Wabanaki Confederation, which includes the Abenaki, Maliseet, Micmac, Passamaquoddy, and the Penobscot nations. We invite you to take home the order of service for information and announcements, or you can leave it back here to recycle as you leave the sanctuary. There will be a social hour in the parish hall after the service, so just follow the crowd, and again, welcome.
Yep. Please join me in the lighting of the chalice. This is our sacred promise, to gather together in peace, to seek truth in love, to serve humanity, so that all shall grow in harmony with the divine. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. What you bring, who you are, how you identify, you are welcome here. We say welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride, your sadness, your struggle. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger, and the parts of you that are not yet ready to be seen or heard. We welcome all of them here. For we are people of faith, faith in our expansive welcome, faith in our ability to grow, faith in the precious gift of truth, faith in the promise of trying, learning, changing, faith in our capacity to know ourselves and each other deeply. Welcome to you who are human. Welcome to you who love and are loved. Welcome to you who are blessed, which is all of you. Welcome. And now, if you'll join as you're able and join me in singing hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Before you sit down, this is the time in the service where we turn to one another and greet our neighbors.
Good morning. Good morning, Reverend Lori.
Good morning.
Hey, Paul. Good morning.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
For the selfishness that set us apart and alone. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
For losing sight of our unity. For those and for so many acts both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in
It's a good way to get some steps in. This is a time in our service when we invite folks to come forward and share what's in their hearts. If you're comfortable, if you have something you'd like to share, maybe a joy in your life or a sorrow, please feel free to come forward, light a candle if you like, tell us your name. And this isn't a time for announcements or political opinions or anything like that, just sharing from the heart.
Good morning. My name is Sarah, and I want to express the joy of being a member of this congregation. I've recently gone through some hard times, and people have come forward to express care, hope, and wishes for me, and I want to say thank you very, very much. I can't tell you how grateful I am for this congregation.
Hi, I'm Donna, and this is a candle of joy for a most beautiful, meaningful wedding of my granddaughter, Brindy, and Zach. Their dog was part of the wedding, and we brought the dog back and kept her for a week while they were on their honeymoon, and they've just returned. I also want to say a great thank you to Wendy Crowell, who helped get outfit ready. You know I don't dress up all that much, and she made it work for me, so I felt quite elegant.
Hi, my name is Peggy, and I just ask for you to keep my daughter in your thoughts and prayers. She's going through some personal struggles and could use all the help she can get. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Betsy, and I lit a candle of concern for the family. The cousins all have health issues and are an age to that has provided difficulty in caring for their 99-year-old aunt, and services are hard to come by. Please send them some thoughts and prayers.
My name is Randa. My pronouns are she, her. I have a few things. One is a candle for my friend Wendy's sister, who is dying out west. May her passing be accompanied with love from her family and all around her. There are several new families of immigrants who have moved into the Biddeford area, and they seem like they're all asking for beds and furnishings, and it's a little overwhelming. And we know there's many more that don't know where to ask. And this other one is personal, just about an inarticulate sadness that I'm feeling about the conflicts that we have been experiencing, some of us within our church, and I just hope in this time of forgiveness we can be aware of how we have harmed each other, and I ask for forgiveness for those who feel harmed by me.
Hi all, my name is Jason, and I lit a candle of remembrance for my mom, Sylvia Willett, who passed away pretty suddenly this summer. She'd had a stroke about a month before that, but her recovery was looking really good, so it was a big shock to hear that she had passed. So yeah, that's a candle for Sylvia Marie Labe Willett.
I'll light a last candle. These are to represent the joys and the sorrows that remain in our hearts. And let's just take a moment. Let's just take a moment and kind of sit with what we've heard.
Now, I'm not one to repeat too soon, but with today's theme, I wanted to circle back to a book that we read last June, and I think it's really applicable, and it's a very important book, and it's called My Shadow is Pink. Oops. My dad has a shadow that's blue as can be, and there's nothing but blue in my whole family tree. But mine is quite different. It's not what you think, for mine is not blue. My shadow is pink. My shadow loves ponies and books and pink toys, princesses, fairies, and things not for boys. But there's one thing it likes most, I have found. It loves wearing dresses and dancing around. It spins and it sparkles, it twirls through the air, then it stops as my dad walks in with a stare. It will turn blue one of these days. Don't worry, he says, it's just a phase. Dad's shadow is blue, it is big, it is strong, but when I stand with it, I just feel wrong. I wish mine was blue like all of the others. I wish mine was blue like my dad and my brothers. I'd be a part of that group of that there's no doubt, but I cannot fit in because my shadow stands out. Now things are all changing, and that is not cool. I'm ready to start my first day of school. You'll need pencils and books, and lunch you must bring. Dress up with your shadow in its favorite thing. My heart skips a beat, and I put on a dress, and I look at my dad, who is anxious and stressed. He takes me to class, and I turn to say bye. His face is all worried, and there's a tear in his eye. So I step in the doorway and puff out my chest, and one thing is clear, I am not like the rest. I try to say hi, but my voice is too quiet. The kids turn around, and then the room goes silent. I run out the door and I push past my dad, and I run to my house feeling angry and sad. If my shadow was blue, I'd be there making friends. I'd be laughing and playing and drawing with pens. I rip off my dress and throw it on the floor. I won't wear it again, not ever, no more. Just then at my door came a soft little knock. It's my dad walking in, and I look up in shock. Both he and his shadow, in dresses they stood with shimmering seams and pink sparkling hoods. He speaks in a voice that's quite soft, but is stern. Pick up that dress, he said. You must listen and learn. I see now it's true, it's not just a shadow. It's your innermost you. He showed me the photos of parents and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and others. We've all had a shadow that's hidden from eyes. Sometimes our shadow, it lives in disguise. Your shadow is you, and pink it will be, so stand with your shadow and yell, this is me. And some they will love you, and some they will not. But those that do love you, they love you a lot. So put on that dress and get back to school, and if someone won't like you, then they are the fool. My heart nearly burst, and my shadow, it soared. I picked up the dress and wore it once more. We ran out the door, this time holding hands. My dad and our shadows, together we stand. I stride in my class and I puff out my chest. I may be different, but different is best. I join a small group, though I don't really blend in. They look up and smile. Will you be our friend? And that's it. Oh, yes, stand if you're able and join me in singing hymn number 15, The Lone Wild Bird.
be seated. Our reading today is by Caden A. Ward, and it's called Queer Pride. Growing up in a culture where you are not supposed to exist, you are accustomed to the generosity of people trying to fix you, to force you into a shape that they can understand. I didn't know how exhausting it was trying to remain elastic in a world that demands us to be static, trapping us in binary boxes where we wilt in our confinement, because against societal expectations, we refuse to suffocate ourselves for your comfort. Together, we will stand in the light high with unmatched pride, for we have fought too long and too hard for our right to be here, to live silently with our heads bowed low any longer.
Call thee? How shall we welcome thee? I think these go hand in hand. Our overall theme for the year is challenge, and our particular theme for the month is welcome. Today we will explore what it means to really welcome someone. One of the most basic ways to welcome someone is to introduce yourself to them, introduction, and call them by name. It is a show of respect, it is a show of dignity, and today I'm going to talk about pronouns, because pronouns are a way of naming somebody, and they're powerful. Pronouns are very common, and they're short words in the English language. Some examples include he, she, it, they, who. A pronoun usually refers to a name or to another noun that came earlier in a sentence or conversation. Earlier this morning, we used, if you paid attention to the hymns, thou and thee and thine. Haven't used those anywhere else lately. Those are old English words. Let me see. The lone wild bird in lofty flight is still with thee, nor the leaves of thy sight, and I am thine, and I rested thee. Those are all pronouns. And starting about 400 years ago in the history of language, the words thou and thee were gradually replaced by you. So pronouns changed. You had already existed as a pronoun, but it had always been plural. You had only meant more than one, you. Like, for instance, both of you. All of you. You soldiers line up for battle. It was thou that meant only one person. So you never called anybody a you addressed them as thou. And it was intimate. Thou my friend, thou my child, thou my neighbor. Centuries ago, the only time it was usual or standard to call one single person you was to show the person was of higher standing. You as a singular pronoun was reserved for a person of higher status. You could only be used between two people if they were both elite. However, if you were an ordinary person, a common English person, and you were speaking to somebody higher than you could not be called you. You would use thou to speak to family members, intimate friends, or children. You would say to you, to a non-superior person to you, you would use thou. But that person could address you as thou to reflect your inferior class. But there was a religious group that would have none of this, and that was the Quakers, known as the Society of Friends, that began in England in the 1600s. Founded on the principle of total equality among human beings, the Quakers would call every individual thou. They didn't follow the rule to call a superior you, because in the sight of God, nobody was better than anybody else. I can imagine a Quaker saying, "Thou may be king, but you are deserving of no name superior to the one I hold, superior to your next door neighbor or prisoner in your dungeon, or your friend, or my friend, or me. Thou art my sibling, dear king." The British class system lasted well into the 20th century, and in fact, I don't believe it's truly gone. So you can imagine that in the 17th century, the Quakers' radical way of thinking and treating other people and speaking to everybody as a thou got them in a lot of trouble. Resistance to social hierarchy was one of the many traits that caused them to be persecuted, and one of the many traits that sent them to America, to William Penn's colony of Pennsylvania. In any case, after 1800, it became standard in English that you referred to one singular person. And you could also mean plural, but you was how we addressed others. Thou and thee did not vanish altogether, but fell out of normal use. The use of thou continued in poetry and prayer and hymns, as we heard today. The pronoun thou still conveys intimacy, like that between a person and their God, or a person between two people who are friends or lovers. Thou expresses affection. Thou expresses care and concern. Pronouns are small words, and they are powerful. They have meaning in society. They mean something particular. Now I want to talk about a word that's a little bit different. And the word is binary, as in binary choice. Binary implies a choice between two things. It means this thing or that thing. No alternatives, nothing in between, no other options existing. Considering the binary option in religion, you are either this or that. You either believe this or that. You either say this or that. But where you use. And we believe many things, and we come from different traditions, and we blend together, so we should know it doesn't need to be this or that. Once you either belong to a spiritual community where your beliefs don't fit, and you have to keep your beliefs inside and suppress your identity to say them out loud, or two, you deny yourself participation in a spiritual community altogether, even though you might long be enriched by the blessings of a community. Many folks who come into Unitarian Universalism find it a pleasant surprise that they did not have to keep silent about what they believe or what they don't believe. When I meet somebody in a social situation, they may ask me what I do, and I generally say that I'm a chaplain or a minister, and they usually reply back. The most thing I hear is, I don't go to church, but I'm spiritual but not religious, or I'm an atheist. And then I say, I have atheists in my church. I allow that to sink in. Indeed, the diversity of beliefs in our Unitarian Universalist movement is hard for many people to wrap their brains around, even you people. We have pagans, agnostics, atheists, Christians, Buddhists, Jews, Muslims, among other beliefs. Nearly every UU congregation exists in denial and a rejection of binary understanding. Binary understanding of a religious community. It is not this or that, it is this and that. Since it is based on values, the UUs are based on values, not on creed, principles is what we hold fast to. A liberal congregation is a living, breathing, hymn-singing, disagreeing example that there are things in between the limited choices of this or that. In these times, we are learning that not everybody fits into a box. That is so clear, including the binary box of man or woman, of boy or girl, of him or her. There is more variety in our gender identities and our gender expressions than cannot be contained by two gender words. Hence, some folks request being referred to not he or she or him or her, but by pronouns they or them. But this doesn't harken back to Old English. This is a request for respect. What else could we show more basic than respect and welcome than to acknowledge someone by how they identify themselves? If somebody introduces themselves as George, you don't call them Stan. It's not welcoming, it's not respectful, it's belittling. They have told you who they are, you acknowledge that, and you welcome them by that name. And you make space for whoever they present themselves to be. The pronoun request may feel good to some, awkward to others. It was very awkward to me when I first was introduced to it by my kids. It may feel new to you, but it's actually not a new thing. They, them is not a new thing according to the Oxford Dictionary. The singular use of they has appeared in English writing since the 1400s. There are plays, novels, poems going back that far with the use of they to refer to a singular person. Furthermore, a singular they was used in writing that probably was used even earlier in spoken word. They, them, not new. For over 40 years, the National Council of Teachers of English has advised educators on the use of non-sexist language, both in how teachers speak to students and in guidelines for writers. It recommends a singular they. On the website, you can read examples of how to use it. Here is one. For a theater teacher to say every cast member should know his lines by Friday is not inclusive. But to say every cast member should know his or her lines by Thursday is not inclusive either, because it reflects gender binary, and we are not binary people. The gender inclusive way to say the same thing, every cast member should know their lines by Friday, and there is a singular use. Current guidelines for writers from the Associated Press Style Book and the Washington Post Style Guide, among other important newspapers, recommend the use of they to refer to a singular noun unless the gender is known. However, if a person is requesting a particular pronoun to describe them, then the writers are encouraged to honor that request. The National Council of Teachers of English says that in school, teachers who practice this are making sure that the students of all gender identities feel visible and heard and valued and protected. Protected. It's a strange word to have to use, but in today's society, we have to protect them. The purpose of this practice in any community is to promote respect and belonging and welcome, which is our theme for the month. Many hospital admission forms now ask a patient what pronoun they wish to be known by. In fact, many institutions in general do. There may be some amongst us that identify as non-binary or have loved ones who identify as non-binary. Sometimes means things like a couple present themselves as partners, not boyfriend and girlfriend. That caught me off guard. If, like me, you have had the privilege of living easily in one category or another of society's gender binary, you may wish, you may not be sure how you can be of support to people who don't live in that binary. Here are a few suggestions to make people welcome. The National Center for Transgender Equality says that some people haven't heard a lot about non-binary genders or have trouble understanding non-binary gender, and that's okay. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know what it means to respect people who want to be called by a gender that they present to you. You don't call George Stan. You don't call somebody who says they're a they, she. It isn't correct. It isn't welcome. It isn't protecting of their inner self. It's making them wear blue where they want to wear pink. And you don't have to understand everything about people to affirm their dignity. And our first principle is to affirm the dignity and worth of every people. So it's incumbent upon us. Another way of being welcoming is providing support. You can remind others that we can't assume another person's gender expression by looking at them or even hearing their name. Making such assumptions can lead to awkwardness or hurt. It is okay to ask. It shows respect. It is welcoming. Other ways to welcome might be to put your pronouns beside your name, acknowledging that not everybody is known by their obvious their presenting gender. Putting your pronouns on your name tag, for instance, is welcoming. Introducing yourself with your pronouns are ways of being welcoming in this church to people who are coming in here looking for a safe haven, looking to be seen, looking to be protected. Extravagant welcome for all who show up here. Even with good intentions, using more inclusive pronouns does take practice. Again, I can affirm that. And there will be mistakes, and I can affirm that too. If someone points out that you've misgendered them, it's okay to say, sorry, thanks for letting me know. If you misgender someone, it's okay to say, thank you for reminding me. Making mistakes about more nuanced ways of being in this world is understandable. It's expected, actually. But intentionally referring to someone by a pronoun that they have asked you not to use is hurtful and disrespectful, and it does harm. We want to welcome people here. We want to welcome new people here. Young people, old people, people in between. And seeing people and respecting people for who they really are is the fundamental building block of welcoming. That's our way of being religious here. When we say we are liberally religious, it doesn't necessarily mean we're liberals. It means that we are open. We are open people who are exploring themselves spiritually, who want to be seen for who they are, whatever that looks like. We understand that the truth is not fixed once and for all. The canon is not closed. It is an open-ended search. That's why we show up on Sunday. It is an evolutionary process. Gender identity and gender expression exist on a spectrum, perhaps in a web, which is another one of our principles. The first principle, affirmation of dignity and worth of every person, is not possible without showing respect first and foremost. And it is not possible to form a relationship or build community if we can't show respect, to be respected for who we are. So let's recommit ourselves this morning to our commitment to see people in their fullness, to welcome them, to recognize them in their non-binary nature, and in all of nature, because nature's not binary. And to welcome people as they wish to be named, to respect them for dignity and protection. And may it be so. When we join together as a community, we share our time, our talent, and our resources in support of this church. Each month, we share our plate with a community organization doing good work in the world around us. This month, however, we are sharing our plate with the Minister's Discretionary Fund, a fund that allows the minister to support people discreetly in our community who need help. We provided a lot of support last year, and we need to replenish that account. So this month we are collecting for the Minister's Discretionary Fund to build it back out for this winter, where oil's still going to be expensive and housing is going to be short. If you're watching from home, donations may be made through the Give button at the top of the webpage of uuchurchsacobideford.com, or checks can be mailed to UUCSB 60 School Street, Saco, Maine. This morning's offering will now be received. join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. As we release this flame today, of His faithful service today, we allow the spark in each of us to burn on, to warm our compassion, to fire our delight, to light our paths, today, tomorrow, and always. And remain standing and join me in singing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land. be seated. Let's build a land where we welcome with our hearts open and our arms outstretched. Let's embody radical welcome, unquestioning love, seeing clearly those who surround us and naming them by name, deeply hearing their voices and hearts. Let's be the welcome we crave, enriching understanding. Let us embody the community we crave, and let us go out in peace and do these things. Amen.
Our service is now concluded. We hope that you'll join us for coffee in the coffee hour.